With Digi-Will and Digivice in hand, is a Digi-Dynamic force in Digiland. When the Digi-Past and Digi-Present collide, time to Digi-Side. Digimon.
Okay, so given the fact that Master Zen couldn't, do the video with me this week, we're gonna be doing it next week. But I also wanted to talk about something that came across the group chat that me, Master Zen, and Urban Ninja. Shout out to Urban Ninja for putting it in the group chat. But something caught my eye, and I wanted to talk about it because, given the fact of what is going to be in this new Digimon story game, Time Stranger, I think that it deserves to be talked about more. And people need to know that and realize, especially Pokemon fans, that Digimon has been around. It didn't just like disappear. Yeah, sure, it didn't get the proper viewership for the shows that came on, but like that doesn't mean it's not a more superior show than Pokemon. I'm sorry. Especially given the story and the lore behind Digimon, and especially behind the games. If you played the games, you would definitely understand and realize that Digimon has the more complex story than Pokemon, in my honest opinion. And this comes from a dude who played nothing but Pokemon games when he was growing up. But because this is something that needs to be talked about. It does. It really does need to be talked about. Digimon is quietly eating Pokemon's lunch, and more people should know. Now, this is obviously talking about Time Stranger, the latest Digimon game that's going to be coming out very soon in October, which I will be streaming that day, and I'm going to take time off for playing this game, to play this game 24/7, because I've been waiting for this game for years, and it deserves to be played. Here's what it's saying. It's saying, remember how when Power World was blowing up, fans were excited that a Pokemon competitor might force the Pokemon company to get its act together and stop releasing busted games like Scarlet and Violet. Now listen, what did they mean by that? When Scarlet and Violet came out, not only was it glitchy and buggy in various places, it was laggy. Especially when it went to, doing the raves. And then once you, in my honest opinion, once you beat the Elite Four, that's where the hype for it dies down. But you would think that, after the Elite Four, the DLC and, that Indigo thing, that like DLC will, really spark it up, right? No. They made the same thing that they did with Sword and Shield, and it died. It died down. Now everybody is like trying to hype up ZA, and ZA is gonna be so good because it's the game that we should have got when X and Y first came out. But it's just like they waited too late to do that, and it really tells a very detailed narrative that they were not expecting people to want Pokemon Z or the Megas to come back. And lo and behold, they realized that, we have to do something. So, but in my honest opinion, it's going to fall short, because what Pokemon Z needed to show was the things that you could not do in X and Y. For example, not only just like more mega evolutions, but able to go and actually explore the region of Kalos for what it is. Explore the power plant, explore further off into the caves, actually capture the legendaries that only got an event release. Kalos got rimmed hard because of what they thought wasn't needed in the game, and because of what they couldn't put in there, didn't have enough space. They had plenty of space. It's just that they chose not to do it and scrapped it. And then last year, all of the leaks came out like, oh shit, this was supposed to be in there, that was supposed to be in there, oh, this was supposed to happen, but we took that out, scrapped that, and then you got Power coming in, actually doing the things that Pokemon just literally chose not to do. Not Game Freak, not Nintendo, but the Pokemon Company. And now we have further proof of Game Freak actually having the ability to make develop a really good game, stepping outside the Pokemon Company, and now we truly see for what it is. We truly see it for what it is. Let's continue. Whether the pans out remains to be seen, but given that Digimon, arguably the most notable competition Pokemon had in the 90s and early 2000s, which is true, has been quietly running circles around Pikachu and friends on the video game side for years. Yes, here's the reason why. Because Digimon story games, and it says it further on here, Digimon story games are actually detailed more and are actually have a much more complex story, in my honest opinion. If you played Digimon story Dusk and Dawn, if you played Digimon story DS, if you came across the ROM of Digimon story Lost Evolution, you got to play that like I did off screen, you would enjoy it. Especially Cyber Sleuth and Hacker's Memory. Very great games. Very great games. So I'm not holding my breath. I played about half an hour of Digimon story Time Stranger at Summer Game Fest earlier this month, so they got to play it early. And though my time with the RPG was brief, it was succinct reminder that Digimon has been cooking up some excellent polished RPGs in its own lane, and it has. The last mainline story game, Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory, was a hidden gem in 2016, so I'm hopeful Time Stranger breaks through the noise when it launches later this year. So basically what they just said, and it's crazy how people don't remember Hacker's Memory, but they remember Cyber Sleuth. Hacker's Memory was a more of a continuation of Cyber Sleuth, where it's a different character, but it was in the same time frame of the events of Cyber Sleuth. If you ever played Digimon or watched the anime, you know the general conceit of the franchise. The critters live in a digital world that humans are able to enter via virtual reality. Time Stranger focuses on a different server than the one where previous story games took place and is set in the digital world of Iliad. Yes, thank you. Managed by a powerful pantheon of Digimon called the Olympus 12. As a longtime Digimon fan, I've always been drawn to how the games riff on the lore by finding new ways to implement old characters and mythological figures into new iterations of the digital world. Phone, stop, please. And Time Stranger already has me intrigued. Recent story games were set in a somewhat barren cyberspace world that was essentially compelling and minimalist way, but weren't that stimulating to walk around in. And the only reason why he's saying that is because it's unfortunate. The last two story games that came out that was for the DS never came over here, and that's Lost Evolution and the one that's starring Cross Wars. It's a damn shame that we did not get those games, because Lost Evolution was fun, and from what I hear, the Cross Wars one is just as good too, because Lost Evolution is a more superior game to Dawn and Dusk, a much more superior game. And Cross Wars, I believe, is just another continuation of Time Stranger's shift to Iliad. Not only opens up the visual identity of these games to include lush environments and lively towns filled with Digimon living in harmony, it's also paving the way for new stories with different major players. Cyber Sleuth was a sort of Avengers moment for some of the series' mainstays, so Time Stranger putting the focus on the Olympus 12 for the first time in several years is an exciting prospect. Like I said before, they had plans to make a phone game talking about the Olympus 12, but that got scrapped, and now we got this, where it's a full-on blown game featuring us going to the Iliad digital world and meeting the Olympus 12 and all of that. And I love it. And I'm glad that we're getting it. In the short time I was able to spend in Iliad Central Town Hub, I was excited to explore and meet all the Digimon living there as civilians. Unbothered by petty squabbles of humanity in the real world, there's so much character to this little town that even as the game pans over it in a cutscene, so many lively details catch your eye. Little touches like seeing Zudomon using its hammer to pound away on an anvil as a blacksmith, and Edamon hanging off the signage on the buildings, making the town feel lived in. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. That reminds me of Detective Pikachu, the movie, where like you just see Pokemon just like coexisting in society, doing regular shit alongside the humans. But for this, it's different. It's just the Digimon literally living out their lives in the Iliad digital world. I love that. I love that so much. That's the honestly, that was the shit that I was asking for I was asking more of in the Pokemon games. Why is it that we only see a little bit of that in the Pokemon games? Why is it that even though, you know, we see it in the movies, we see it in a lot of the Pokemon movies where the Pokemon and the people are literally coinciding with each other. But when it comes to the games, it's like it's so scattered and spaced out that it's just like there should be more Pokemon in this city. There should be more Pokemon coinciding within the livelihood of this city. Why is it a barren, like look like a barren ghost town, and there's more people than Pokemon in these cities and these towns? It didn't make sense to me. And even in, you know, the GBA games, the Game Boy Advance games, despite the fact that I love Fire Red and Leaf Green, there wasn't that many Mon sprites scattered around like things like Celadon or Vermilion or freaking Cerulean. Like you only got to see like 2 out of 3 Pokemon being near humans, coincided with the humans. It should have been more than that. It should always be more than that. Even with Scarlet and Violet, barren like city, nothing but people, and it's just maybe 1 or 2 Pokemon out in the middle of the square. You know what I'm saying? But then when you go out into the wild, it's this laggy mess where you see these mons just pop out of nowhere, out of the grass, and it's just like, why can't that be in the city? Why can't that be there? Like, you don't have to fully space it out like that. Because like we understand that they all should exist in one space, right? Anyway, I'm sorry. I don't mean to get on a tangent. It's just that that is something that I've been wanting to see for a long ass time. Oh, there's so much character to this little town that even as the game pans over it in a cutscene, so many lively details catch your eye. Little touches like Zudomon. Yeah, okay, so I already said that. And nearly every inch of the town is covered in Digimon interacting with the world and each other like this. I didn't plan to spend most of my time playing Time Stranger comparing it to Pokemon, but the stark difference between it and Game Freak's RPGs is top of mind for me right now, playing a bit of Scarlet and Violet on the Switch too. Yeah, the games finally run at a smooth 60 frames per second, but the world still looks and feels like a GameCube era tech demo. That is wild. And I know exactly what they're talking about. Man, I know exactly what they're talking about. Because if you go to a demo, it's not really that much there. And you're only going to see a very few amounts of people, very few amounts of monsters. And it's just like, damn. And you know what's even crazy? I'm glad that he talked about playing it on the Switch 2, because that's supposed to be the updated version of that shit. Wow, man. Wow. Whereas Time Stranger and Digimon games more broadly feel like childhood dreams realized. They take risks, change up the formula constantly. Yes, they do. And most importantly, they feel like fully realized worlds visually, narratively, and systematically. And there it is. There it is right there. The very thing that I've been talking about and speaking about for the longest kind of time. Whether it's been in the story series, the world games, or more off-the-wall spin-offs like the visual novel tactics RPG Digimon Survive, this franchise has never stopped swinging for the fences even after it was deemed the loser of the 90s and 2000 Monster Tamer race. And you know what? And that shouldn't have happened. Me and my friend Nathan were talking about this, that Digimon deserved better when it came to it being compared to the Pokemon. For God knows how long, I have no idea why, we as kids thought that Pokemon, these creatures who only could evolve twice, honestly twice, and then years later mega evolve to a limited extent, even then, compared to Digimon, where it's like 4, 5, 6 different evolutions, 4 ways to do it, 4 different lines, and then on top of that, take another Digimon that's fully evolved, fuse that Digimon with another fully evolved Digimon, and getting an entirely new Digimon, an entirely new monster, which is so OP strong. And the description of the Digimon are more complex and more dangerous and terrifying than Pokemon. And I'm saying that because me, Urban Ninja, and Master Zen literally sat down, and we will in the foreseeable future, hearing what these Digimon could do and what they were capable of. So it being deemed the loser was the worst mistake we could have ever made as children. But we thought that Digimon was boring. Some of us, we thought that it was too difficult, and that's even more crazy thing about it is that, so we picked Pokemon because it was easy to follow, whereas Digimon, it was equally as easy, but it was also challenging. And now all of a sudden, and now as the years go on, we're expecting Pokemon to be more challenging. And here we got Digimon that's always had that challenge. They've always had that challenge. When it came to raising, to getting the Digimon up to certain stats so you can Digivolve it the way you want. It was always a challenge for it, and when it came to Digimon. But in Pokemon, it was an easy thing to do. And that was the target audience that they were aiming for. They were aiming for people that liked things the easy way. And even then, when it came to like raising the EVs and IVs, even then, you didn't even need to do that because the game itself made you, be comfortable with the fact that you didn't even have to do that. You don't have to raise the EVs and IVs. If you're like, in some cases, you don't even need to have the perfect Mon because it came out that like it's basically a luck of the draw, a turn-based luck of the draw type of thing when it came to Pokemon battles, especially online. It didn't matter if you had a max EVs and IVs in certain stats. Either you were going to come out as the winner or not, regardless of whether your monster was up to par or not. It didn't matter. Okay, so then I said maybe that's what happens when you still feel like you've got something to prove and can't rest on your guaranteed millions of sales. There's some freedom in not being beholden to the same machine your rival is, and it makes for more interesting games. And that's true because Digimon could have easily went the same route. You know what I'm saying? They could have easily went the same route as Pokemon, just did the same kind of style of games, style of Pokemon cards, style of everything, right? But they chose not to do that. And now we see the reason why. It's because you can only do that for so long, till it becomes stale and boring, and people and your customers are expecting more out of you than just the same cookie cutter game each and every single year. Hell, even one of my old friends, Monte, said this, that Pokemon is literally the same game every year. And back then, I would disagree. It's like, no, it's not true. No, it's the same fucking game. It is the same fucking game each and every single year. Only difference between, certain, series of games is because it was on a different handheld, a different console. But it's the same game, no matter how you slice it. Still gotta go through the same process. The same process. Hell, even for Sun and Moon, yeah, you didn't get badges, but you still had to fight. You still had to fight the same like leaders. You still had to do the Elite Four challenge, even though it wasn't supposed to be an Elite Four there to begin with. People were expecting to actually have world championships where you're fighting these random trainers who are actually strong, and you fight the last person, and then you become the champion. We've seen that in the anime, I don't know how many times, but it never got over to the games. Why? While exploration is much more of a priority this time around, Time Stranger is still focused on the monster taming aspect above all else. With more than 450 Digimon available to you, there's a lot room for experimentation in what might look at a glance like a pretty straightforward turn-based battle system. Time Stranger still utilizes the rock paper scissors structure Digimon always has. Now, keep this in mind. Cyber Sleuth only had the amount of Digimon to 300 something. There was only 300. Hold on, let me double check, because I looked it up last night, right? And I was like, okay, well, how much Digimon were in Cyber Sleuth? 341. There were 341 Digimon in Cyber Sleuth. Hands over to Time Stranger now. That is 150 more than what we thought we would. And they didn't even have to do that. 450 Digimon this time around. And even then, right? Even then, people loved Cyber Sleuth for what it was. Because it wasn't about getting every single Digimon. It was about getting the Digimon that we know that we liked. Having the ability to get them at their strongest level, their strongest form, and just having it. Whereas Pokemon, you gotta go through this, that, and the third to get all of these different Pokemon for a little of a reward. There's little to no reward, like really. All you get is a damn certificate for catching all 1,000 something other Digimon. No one has time for that. No one has time for that. I'm sorry. For as much as people wanted the national dex, and there was a reason why, because there were certain Digimon that people wanted that wasn't in the region. More doesn't mean better. It doesn't. What matters is the monsters that people like, that people know about, that people enjoy, that people like playing with, that people like using. And Pokemon still has not understood this. Still, they have not understood this. But it also has a Final Fantasy X style swapping systems that lets you adjust your strategy on the fly by switching between your active party and your bench teammates without penalty. That is awesome as fuck. Oh, that is so good. That is actually really good. Because I was wondering, can I swap my bench Digimon in case if I want to, change up? Yes, you can. Some of the battles I took part in were your standard random fight affair, but the boss fight against a superpowered Parrotmon really showed the potential of its turn-based battles. This clash felt like a raid battle that required a lot more step up with support abilities, pushing me to prioritize defense rather than just bulldozing through with my most powerful attacks and demonstrating that Time Stranger could be more dynamic than its predecessors. And that was the main, I already know that was the main core for that. I already know that was the main thing to do. They wanted to have the battle be a lot more detailed than Cyber Sleuth, and I'm glad that they've done that. Cyber Sleuth's story and Persona SQ vibe were the draw above all else, with some critics arguing that the battle system was generic and uninvolving. Kotaku's Mike Fahey called them a mindless chore. Bitch. Time Stranger, by contrast, is certainly not reaching the elaborate systems, heavy turn-based play, and of something like a Clair Obscure Expedition 33, but what I played of it suggests developer media. Oh my god. But what I played of it suggests developer media. Vision is taking that criticism to heart, and I'm interested to see just how far it can take these systems when the game launches on PC, PS5, and the Xbox Series S on October 3rd. Now, I read all that to say this game is going to be heat. This game is actually going to be heat. I'm happy that we're finally getting a game like this. I'm so happy. Here's also something else that I found out. Here's also something else. So, I found this on Twitter, just browsing, right? And they did something that honestly I wasn't expecting, but I'm happy and I'm so grateful that they're doing it. And I said, hell the fuck yes. Digimon Story Time Stranger from the gameplays. If you are much stronger than the roaming Digimon, you don't need to engage in turn-based battle. The main Digimon will just defeat it with one hit and you'll get EXP. And not only that, you'll also get the scan rate data. So that way it'll be easy for you to convert the Digimon that you want. I'm gonna have a ball with this game. Oh my god, to this day I still get people sending me stuff about Pokemon, and at some point I'm gonna say, bro, I'm not with Pokemon no more. I know you wanna show me because you're excited, but I don't really give a fuck about Pokemon anymore. I honestly don't. I got Power World, I got Digimon. Regardless of the fact that my favorite Pokemon was Raichu, Vmon is still more loved in this era of my life. I'll just say that now. Freaking, if I really want to go to electric things, Grisbolt is my fave. Pokemon is gonna get its numbers, right? Because there's still gonna be people, shills, who will support them no matter what they say or do. Despite the fact that they've literally leaked by accident everything that they did not give us because of reasons. That should have been the turning point right then and there, but for a lot of people it wasn't, because they're still so excited for ZA, thinking that ZA is gonna be so good. It's not. You're literally not even going to go outside of the city. And I already know they're not going to give no damn DLC for going outside of the city when it's literally a game that's featuring you being coexisting inside of the Lumio city. I have no interest in that at all. And even if they did have you go outside of the city, I already know it's going to be very limited. You're not going to get the things that I'm asking for. So, and I'm also not going to be getting the Switch 2 just to play that fucking game. I'm not. I'm sorry. No. What I look like? No. The answer is no. But when it comes to this, bro, I've been waiting for Whis to pre-order the collector's edition, because it went out. It got sold out come the day it was announced. The day the collector's edition was announced, it literally got sold out within a day. And I said this in the beginning, I said this in a previous video, I've said this in many videos. I have been waiting so long for this. Y'all have no idea. Whether or not I'll be able to get Limon, which is Raidramon, but his actual confirmed name is Lydramon. Whether or not I'll be able to get Lydramon is irrelevant. I'm going to play the hell out of this game. And I'm going to stream it for as long as I possibly can when it comes out. That'll be my Halloween gift to you guys. And I know it's been a minute since we've done anything Halloween, but that will be my Halloween. That will be my treat for Halloween. I said this in this video. It's a damn shame that we as kids did not see the foreseeable future that both of these franchises were going to have. Pokemon with its complacency, Digimon with its honestly untold yet seen creativity. And what I mean by that is it was there, we just didn't see it, or we chose not to see it, and because Pokemon was in our face and it was easy to pick up. That should not be the case anymore. Just because something is easy to pick up doesn't mean that it's good. Doesn't mean that you should touch it or that you should pick it up. It just means that it's not going to get any better than that. And like I said before, Game Freak literally just proved to us without saying it that it wasn't them. Because y'all remember the video that I made that I took down criticizing Game Freak. I was wrong. Clearly I was wrong. Because we now know that they're capable of doing way more. And the real people at fault was the same company that I've been talking about. The Pokemon company. And yes, Nintendo is also to blame. But the Pokemon company is a separate company. It's just working with Nintendo. A lot of people don't realize that. That yes, Nintendo does own the rights to Pokemon, but it is not in the same. They're like their desks, cubbies are next to each other, but they're not the same. They have different meetings. They have different projects. It's not. It's literally cut between. I've literally seen this. It's a completely separate company. So before we say, oh, it's Nintendo's fault, it's not all Nintendo's fault. The Pokemon company is at a huge fault here. Because this is what happens when you try to aim for something easy because you want money, and instead of being a gaming company that cares about its gamers, you turn it into a brand, and now that's the only thing that you are anymore. If you want Pokemon, just know that you're buying a brand. You're not buying a video game. You're just buying a brand. Digimon, however, isn't the case. They didn't go that route. Instead, they're going the route of, we know what you guys want. We're gonna take some time to do it. It's gonna take some time, but understand that we are here, that we hear you, and we are listening. You guys want a new series? Sure. You guys want more content? Sure. You guys want you guys want the Digimon story games to come back? Sure. You guys want the V-Pets to just come in droves? Sure. You want the card game to be more detailed and everything? You want the card game to come back? Here you go. Here's an update per month of the newest cards coming out with new art. Digimon is giving me exactly what I've been wanting from Pokemon. And I realized that this video wasn't about me bashing Pokemon, but I can't help myself because of literally what I am seeing in front of me. What I've been experiencing, what I've been playing. And I've said this off screen, I played a English translated ROM of Digimon Story Lost Evolution. Urban Ninja can agree, and he's seen it. I played that game for months. I played it for months. I did the same thing that I did in Cyber Sleuth. I was literally getting every Digimon that I wanted while coexisting with the story, enjoying myself, being able to repair the tree, the evolution tree, which was fun, very fun. Was it stressful at times? Yes, but it was challenging. It was challenging, which is an even much more sad thing because I wish I could have did it with my American 3DS, but I can't. And sure, I have a Japanese 3DS. I can buy the game still from eBay, but it would have been a lot cooler if I got to literally buy it, translated, fully translated, and able for me to play on my English DS, rather than waiting years later to pick it up in a translated ROM that I can only play on my computer. But that's just how things go. Bandai Namco thought that people didn't really like Digimon no more, but contrast, we've been wanting Digimon to make a comeback for years, and now we're seeing it, and now I can't unsee it. I literally can't unsee it. Hell, I want them to reboot season 2 of Digimon Adventure like they did with season 1. Reboot that. Please, I would love it. I would honestly love it. That being said, Time Stranger is going to be an amazing game. I get to do things with Digimon that I only thought about doing one day, and this is a good thing. This is actually a very, very good thing. We don't want the same thing over and over. We shouldn't want the same thing over and over. We should want change. We should want effort being seen. We should want that. like I said before, you got people that's literally like, oh, I still love Pokemon. Why? Because it's there. It's gotten it's gotten so bad that y'all want Pokemon and its easiness so bad that now you can't get the cards in local stores because y'all literally fighting over it. Whereas now, my friend Nathan had pointed this out because he asked a person, why can't we see, you know, Digimon cards coming in there? We know Pokemon is like a banned thing, but why not Digimon cards? And he asked this in an Ebisu store, a Japanese store that imports Japanese products. They literally said that the Digimon cards are so rare to get that it's a tossing in the air whether or not they're even gonna get it because it's so rare to get. That blew me away. That actually blew me away. I can't wait for this game. I'm gonna collect more cards. I'm gonna support Digimon. That's what I came here to say. For those people who seen this game and the trailer and are interested and curious about it, play it. Even if you don't get the collector's edition, play the game when you can. Look up Digimon when you can. If you don't even know anything about Digimon, look it up. I guarantee you, you won't be disappointed. I wasn't. Going back to it years later, I'm not disappointed at all. I always had a love for Digimon, but I was so used to Pokemon and its easiness that I was complacent. Not anymore. Not anymore. With that being said, that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my rambling and ranting on about this game and about how I feel about everything. I know it is a lot longer than what I expected to be, but hey, that's what happens. I'm very passionate about this stuff. So if you guys have anything to say about what I've said, or you disagree with the things that I've said, let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like or dislike, whatever, doesn't matter. Share the video, and I'll see y'all again in the next video, where we hopefully are going to talk more about Digimon like I wanted to. Hopefully with Master's End. But with that being said, you guys have a good day, have a good weekend. I love y'all. I'll see y'all again next time. Peace.